Hi guys, my name is Eva Lee and I'm working on Project Peach Ridge as the 3D modeler, texture artist, and concept artist. So in Project Peach Ridge, I will be mainly modeling the coral, fish, as well as the protagonist of the game and the boat. But on the side of that, I will be also texturing all assets. So within the game, there are different categories of assets. This includes the fish, the coral, trash, and unanimous objects. Within each category of assets, they'll all be textured in a specific way to achieve the aesthetic style that we are going for. So trash assets will be more dull with dirt smears, whilst coral, fish, and unanimous objects on the other hand will be much more bright and vibrant in comparison to the trash assets. This will help the trash assets stand out more in conjunction to the beautiful environment. So just for this video, I'll probably be going over the generic method of how I'll be texturing the assets. So first of all, I kind of look at the asset and determine what it is. So in this case, it is table coral. And this table coral is designed to be stacked on top of each other, such like this. So this coral here is very manipulatable. It can be placed in many positions when taken into Unreal 4. So knowing that this is how the coral is going to be laid out, I now think about the texturing and how I would texture the asset. So there are many ways for me to go about texturing. I can either completely just make the asset one color and maybe add some highlights, or make the entire thing filled with a gradient. So for example, this is how it would probably look. So let's look at blues. So the whole asset will probably be blue in general. So imagine that this here is a table coral, and just kind of fill that in. So this here would be the table coral if it was only one color. The way I could take on this table coral is by adding highlights. So if the table coral was actually a dark color, I could add maybe just like lighter highlights. Kind of like that. It would be placed on very subtly, and it kind of blends in with the object, and the final result would look more like this. So as you can see, there's just one solid color with a very faint black shade over it and some highlights. Depending on which coral I'm doing, I'll probably take a different approach for each in order to kind of gain an aesthetic look that kind of blends in all together once the assets are placed in the scene. So in this case, I might be able to do that, or I could take a different approach and work within layers. So I can have a darker color towards the middle and work my way out, going lighter and lighter. In the end, I might add some normal mapping or extra shading just to give the coral some shape. And that is what it should sort of look like towards the end, just not as rough. So at this point, I would probably open Maya and work with just the one coral. This coral has already been UV unwrapped, so I can just take this into the program that I'm working with. From this point, I generally have a black background, just so it's easier to see the UV unwrapping. And from this point onwards, I'll probably keep referring back to Maya as a heat texturing, just to be aware of where each square is kind of located on the actual object itself. So in Maya, I would open Hypershade and drop in my texture. And as I save my texture as I go within the drawing program, it's able to update in Maya, and I can just check to see where everything is up to. There we go. As you can see, the color has just been placed onto the asset. So at this point here, as I start building up the colors, I can kind of see that these colors aren't working in the way I want with the gradient pattern. So I will probably try the different approach and make it a completely solid color with a slight dark shade and some highlights. So once this has been textured, it's ready for normal mapping, and we can give it more of a coral feel rather than just a flat color. And the end result will look most like this, where you can see a little indents on the coral itself, just kind of like adding little extra textures to it. This gives it more realistic feel, even though it's stylistic. And yep, that's all. I hope you enjoyed.